Confidence Campers. Welcome to day 18 of Confidence Boot Camp here at the Villa. I'm Marilee Buchanan. You've seen me by now. And today we're going to talk about something that comes from the physical realm of the chemistry of confidence. We've put it in the physical realm because it's something that you actually do and practice with your voice, with your body, and with your expressions. And we think that it will be very helpful because it is actionable, to use kind of a business buzz phrase. First, some context. We all know what a brand is. If you've had any marketing background, you know that a brand is carefully designed to create a connection between you and the product. Because how a brand develops is that we start to have a visceral reaction to it. And it reminds us of what our experience with that product might be. Over time, we develop a loyalty to a brand and a preference for one brand over another. So when we talk about the idea of a brand, when it comes to people, it's very much the same thing. A brand is what is identifiable about you to other people. What is their experience of you? What do they expect from you? What have they come to rely on from you over time? Some of what's in our brand is by design. We might dress in a particular way. We might practice the way we communicate in a certain way. The energy that we exude, the mood that we're in, the choice of words, all of these things are part of our design brand. We also have another part of our brand, which is called the default. And these are the things that are just there naturally. So they might be everything from our height and weight, face shape, color of our hair, our skin, all of the things that are part of who we are. They're also things like our level of warmth and comfort with other people. And so all of these things together, one is not necessarily better or worse than the other. What we need is awareness of how all of these things play together and influence other people. What this has to do with confidence is that if we can be clearer about our brand and about other people's experience of us, then we can be more comfortable in our own skin. And once we're comfortable, then we're able to be more authentic. So there are many ways to learn about what's in a brand, and these are not things we're going to talk about all of today, because your brand has everything to do with, as I mentioned before, the way you dress, the way you speak, the way you stand, the way you feel and express that kind of energy. It has to do with your expertise and your performance, and what do people come to expect of you over time. Today we're going to talk about one thing in your brand that you can control and can be part of your design brand. And that is what's called the elevator pitch or the elevator speech. It's the way that you can define who you are, what you're doing, what your activities are, and why you're doing what you're doing to other people in a very brief way. If you haven't heard about an elevator speech, the term was actually coined back in the 90s, we think, by a couple of magazine editors from Vanity Fair. What they wanted was for their staff members to have exposure and visibility to senior executives. And so they had them prepare brief introductory statements about themselves that they could deliver in the time that it took to ride an elevator with an executive from the lower floors where they worked up to the top floors where the C-suites were. And what they could do with this technique was that they could have serendipitous interactions with executives who might not have time in their schedule for formal meetings. This way they could promote ideas and projects, make memorable contacts. And so from there, it's been a very popular way of saying, here's who I am, and introducing ourselves. We're going to teach you 3 different approaches for writing your own elevator speech. And What's most important about this is knowing who your audience is and what the situation is and what you're trying to accomplish in that situation. Because you might have something very different that you say to the person who's sitting next to you on the airplane, as opposed to your neighbor at the barbecue, or a senior executive in your company, or even a new customer that you're meeting for the first time. So the first way that we will explain this is we'll give you 3 formulas. And the first way is called simple and straightforward. We might use this technique if we are in a very short and sweet interaction. Perhaps you're meeting someone new for the first time. This is your airplane seat companion. Perhaps you're at a networking event. And it goes like this. I am a blank, and this is where you describe your role, all right? Not necessarily your title. The second part is working with blank. And the third part is to. So I am a blank, that's my role, working with, this is my customers, my colleagues, it could be internal or external customers, it could be children, to, and what is the purpose? So here's an example right now of how that works.
Hi, I'm Julie Finnegan, and I'm a personal lifestyle coach and blogger. And I work with people that are interested in making lifestyle changes and become more healthy, more exercise, more creative. And I give them small, doable ideas for making these transitions easier, kind of one bite at a time. And I do that through my blog, which is called Simple Acts of Balance. So come and check it out.
All right. Formula number 2. This is called promote your organization. You might use this formula when you're representing your company. Perhaps you are an account manager that you are visiting a new customer and they don't know you, they don't know very much about your company. Or perhaps you're at a conference and you need to introduce yourself, or you're just in a new venue and you're promoting your company for whatever reason that you need to, but you're a part of that. The way it works is we say, my name is Marilee. I am with Villa Leadership. We work with companies who are bringing more women into senior leadership. We help them develop women's leadership capacities and define their career paths so that they have more women in the pipeline for senior leadership in their company. Here's an example of how that works.
My name is Megan Nielsen. I am with Villa Leadership Group. We work with companies that have initiatives to help support their women, and we work with these women to help them identify and clarify their career goals and remove any barriers that they might have so that they can be prepared to enter senior levels of leadership.
The third one is something that you might use for a more informal conversation, or when you're talking with somebody who really has no idea what you're doing. And we start by asking a simple question, a question that both of us can relate to. And so we'll say something like, do you know, or are you aware of? So I might say, do you know about the technology in your smartphone? Do you know where that comes from? What I do, blank, and then I describe what I do. What I do is I design the chips that go into smartphones so that they have more and more capacity and capability every time a new product comes out. So what I'm doing is I'm making it relatable to that person. Let's take a look at this example.
Hi there, I'm Carol Story. Hey, do you ever find yourself looking at magazine covers of very successful women and wondering about that? Like feeling a little bit intimidated or wondering, wow, how come that's not me? Well, I run a blog called the Villa Blog, and we write women's stories. Women who are relatable, women like you and me, whose stories are probably not going to be told. Because we think that it's important for all of us to have our stories told so that we can have a community and so that we can build relationships with each other and not feel alone in this world. Thanks for listening. Bye.
All right. Those are 3 ways that you can write an elevator speech. And we really encourage you to do that. It's in your practice exercise to do that, and then to do something else with it, you'll have to read it. The return that you'll get on this investment of a brief amount of time will really be helpful, and it will be helpful to you in bringing up your confidence. The more clear you can be with other people helps you be more clear with yourself. And if you practice this and practice this, you won't have to fumble for the words every time it comes up. So we really encourage you to write your own elevator speech no matter what you do. You can write an elevator speech whether you're a work-at-home mom, a stay-at-home mom, a corporate executive, a circus trainer, whatever it is you do. Write yourself an elevator speech because it will actually bring your confidence up. Thanks for being with us again. We will look forward to seeing you tomorrow, and keep practicing. Take care.
I'm just beginning. The pen's in my hand, ending unplanned.